How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Pan Geekery Podcast, a weekly live video podcast celebrating all things geek from an all-diverse perspective. And we are going to be talking about a lot of things: TV, film, video games, movies, comic books, novels, more stuff. I can't think of it right now.
Wow, there's a lot of stuff, Earl.
I know.
More stuff?
More stuff, covering all the nooks and crannies of fandom. My name is Earl Balon. I'm an actor, improviser based in Los Angeles, California. And the first CD I ever bought, did we do this already?
No, that's
First
a good
CD
one.
I ever bought was Michael Jackson Bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Zhang. I'm an actor, writer, multimedia artist, I guess. And the first CD I ever bought was Avril Lavigne's Let Go.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Hi, guys. My name is Caitlin Faye. I'm an actor, a singer, a writer, and a director. And the first CD I ever bought, like actually
That you
went to
didn't
the
steal,
store.
that you didn't steal.
That I paid my actual money with. I think it was that Celebrity one, the latest album by NSYNC. Celebrity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Walter. I'm a cameraman, editor, and just your general all-around guy. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up every time.
Every time.
every time.
I'm a stack of tacos. That's what I made up for you.
And the first CD I bought, man, damn it! Why you steal that from me, Arnold? It was Boys to Men
Two?
Wow.
Or Cooley Eye Harmony?
2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good one. And as you can see today at the table, we have a guest, Mr. Emmett Fury.
Hey, everybody.
Would you like to introduce yourself, what you do?
Yeah, I'm a writer and a transmedia storyteller, and I run RPGs and alternate reality games and all of that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first CD?
It was something like Garbage 2.0, I think.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Garbage. You got a quite eclectic range of...
Eclectic?
Eclectic,
Or electric.
Did I say electric?
Electric. Yeah.
Quite eclectic range of tastes here. Eclectic. Anyway, thank you for everybody for being here in the chat. Shout out to everybody in chat. Don't have it up right now, but we're working on it.
Sorry.
We're sure you
updating it.
exist, though.
Yeah, we sure you exist. Just to let you know, if you check out our Twitch page, there are a few ways that we've added. If you like the podcast, if you feel like donating, you don't have to. I'm just saying if you want to.
Do
It's
it.
No,
there.
they have to.
Do it.
Really.
Do it.
But hit us up in the chat. We'll get your questions and hopefully somehow answer them on set right here during the stream. But check out our donation buttons. Do throw us a sub if you want. If you have Twitch Prime, it is free for you to sub, and we still get a kickback from that. So if you have if you have Amazon Prime, help us out. You can also give us some bits or cheers and stuff. And finally, we put some Amazon affiliate links towards the bottom of the page. So you can check out all the gear that we actually use to run the podcast, like the mixers, the TriCaster, the mics, and all that stuff. And every time you do buy through our affiliate links, it does help us out. So yeah, do check it out. Finally, we are going to be talking, first of all, after we fix this thing.
I got really excited about everything you were saying.
She
Earl.
beheaded her mic.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry.
Let's get some gaff tape in there. Look at that. Professional.
Gaff tape her hand to her lap. That's what it is.
Oh, my God.
Let's gaff tape her hand to her.
Wouldn't you
lap.
like that?
And unusual.
Whoa.
Look at that.
What an amazing
Professional.
gaff
Really
job.
sexy. Yeah. A sexy knot. Yeah.
That's
Thanks. Thanks,
that
Arnold.
is the
Yeah.
hottest
Dude,
gaff
I'd
I've
hire
ever
you.
seen.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, totally. Anyway. So
calling
today we have our guest, like I said, our guest Emmett Fury. We're going to talk to him for a little bit. We're going to talk about the Final Fantasy VII demo that
Yeah.
dropped for PS4 this past week. And finally, we're going to talk about a new Hulu series from Alex Garland called Devs. We all watched that first episode, hopefully. So
Yes, we did.
We're going to talk about that. Without further ado, Emmett Fury, what's up, man? How's it going?
Glad to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here at the table.
So you're not related to Nick Fury at all.
No.
I'm a little
I don't
disappointed.
have any Howling Commandos or I'm not an
Old
Agent of
school
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
right
but,
there, dude.
Yeah.
All the commandos.
You know, yet.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
Yes.
Not yet.
This is true.
If you could, which Helen Commando would you pick to be like your sidekick?
Oh, wow.
Dum Dum
Think on
Dugan.
that one. I mean,
Yeah.
Dum Dum Dugan is a
I mean, he's
solid choice.
iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Cool.
what is this? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I didn't know either. I just pretended I knew.
So this is
Yeah.
old school Marvel, like
Oh.
Silver Age.
Wow.
Like
Before I was born?
before all of us were born,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
Yeah.
Shield.
Yeah.
It was Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos.
Oh,
and they
wow.
were
Oh my god.
Did not know.
He's like post World War II
That is
comic
pretty
books,
cool.
Oh, that's before me.
and it was before Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, this is when Nick Fury was a white dude back in the day.
I figured. Yeah. I don't think it was Samuel L. Jackson.
David
Yeah.
Hasselhoff, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's 80s Nick Fury.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea.
the Hoff. So you are a transmedia artist, which is what you said in your
Yes.
intro. What does that mean exactly?
That's a big buzzword.
Nice.
But I mean, it essentially means like just telling stories across a bunch of different platforms. The earliest stuff I did with that was sort of I was in this sort of indie LA web series world in the
Right.
late sort of 2000s, and I did a lot of like I called social media storytelling, like a lot of like playing fictional characters on Twitter in real time while
I
a series
see
was
that a
coming
lot.
out,
A lot
and
of
you know,
RPing, yeah.
interacting with the fans and talking to myself a lot.
Hey, I do that for
you know.
free.
Yeah, and I did too for most of those years.
know.
So yeah, that's how I got into that. Alternate reality games too, if you guys know those. Yeah.
So, like, what kinds of alternate reality games have you done? Because you hear so many like salacious stories of people rushing in Hurricane Katrina to pick up, a call in a telephone booth just to continue their ARG game.
Yes.
Did you do anything of that sort, or was it something a little
Fortunately,
more?
there was no sort of national
PJ?
emergency happening when we
Okay.
did. The biggest one I did was a couple years ago. I did one for Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Me and Elisa Teague. Elisa designed the puzzles, and I sort of ran the Twitter accounts. There was a whole like
No Stone Unturned. Is that
yes,
one? Got it.
Yeah, Volo from Forgotten Realms.
Oh,
like,
it was based on Volo. Nice.
yeah, he came to Earth and sort of voluntarily brought he got a Twitter account. He brought an item with him that he. What happened? Oh yes, that is.
That is.
There was the Stream of Many Eyes was the a big event that the
Right.
ARG was the lead up to.
Nice.
And he lost his memory, and he has his Volo's guide to monsters
Right.
and everything. And here he became like a Yelp reviewer, and that sort
Hilarious.
of led people to different game stores where we had sent these keys that were attached.
That
to
is
helmets.
clever.
That's super cool.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you worked with like local gaming stores to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, in different cities and different
Oh, cool.
countries. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Lost Your Memory just reminds me of every Korean drama ever. It's like the plot line is always like, and then he lost his memory.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
We should just do that.
But right now you are the writer for Niantic.
Yes, for Ingress, which
For
is
Ingress.
our company's original game, predated Pokemon. The one
And Wizards United.
and certainly before that, it's the one IP that we kind of own ourselves, which means we have more freedom to. So it's interesting. Like I'm not exactly a video game writer. It's more like I write all of the story stuff around that game that exists in all sorts of, and that's always had sort of alternate reality game components, sort of what we call them ARG assets. Used to be like, before my time, it was like daily drops of in-world documents that were photoshopped to look like redacted government files and transcripts of phone conversations. And they're like, it was literally one a day for like 5 years or 6 years. So, we can do
Yeah.
the math on that.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But like Ingress itself is like a mobile AR game, right? And it's international. Its fan base is huge internationally, but it also exists in so many different forms, right? Like you have online, like the web series. You have the documents that you spoke of. What other forms are there of Ingress?
I mean, like it's always sort of evolving. One of the things that has been most fun historically is we have our sort of lead characters, of which
Jen plays
Jen
one.
plays one. Yes.
Jen.
You just refer to yourself in the third person.
And we have these big live events, and we traditionally send actors to those, and the fans can kind of interact with the characters in
Anomalies,
person.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
anomaly events. So part of my job is to sort of write long documents for the actor to prep them, because they're going to have to sort of immersive theater style,
Right.
like say
Improv.
stuff on the fly, and just prep them to be like, these are probably the kinds of questions you're going to be asked. These are like types of things you should say. We talk
Yeah.
about the ways you can say "I don't know" without sounding like I
That
don't
you
know.
really don't know.
Classified, all those sorts of
For
things.
for people who
Yeah.
might not be familiar with this, and Jen threw in a an acronym, AR, augmented
ARG.
reality, right? So this is kind of these are games that are people using on their phones and using their cameras, kind of like.
Yeah, I mean it's a geolocation mobile game, just like Harry Potter and Pokemon. All the original Pokemon portals were, Pokemon Pokestops were Ingress portals before. It was sort of that same, because Ingress actually started, or rather Niantic started as part of Google, and eventually spun out, and then they got the Pokemon license, and that sort of blew up.
Which is why you can log in with your Google account to sign in for a Pokemon Go account, right?
Yeah.
It's because they're all related.
Yeah, and it's a dense story, but like essentially, Ingress is about this mysterious sort of subatomic energy called exotic matter that comes into the world through portals, which are these points of interest within the mobile app. And they are always at sort of like cool points of architecture or art or sculptures. And there's sort of you pick between one of two factions. One is the enlightened, who think XM is going to be the next stage of human evolution, and the other are the resistance, who think it's like some sort of extra dimensional alien mind control that's manipulating us, and it's been around for all of history and that kind of thing.
And this is like city maps change color, right? Because people are controlling the portals in these landmarks.
Yeah, it's fun. You can make these control fields, these triangles, and it's kind of fun to see. You know, you can make them. Well, I mean, there's limits to the lengths you can make, but there's ways to extend it. People have made like ones that have crossed like giant bodies of water. You can look at the sort of Intel map, we call it, and see sort of live like where are the portals. Oh, that's me.
There's an echo.
Just
I
a
don't
bit
know.
of feedback. We're
There we
turning it
are.
off.
Sorry.
It's pretty fun. It's cool.
So essentially, these two factions, right, the Enlightened and the Resistance, they're battling for turf, right? Like,
Yes.
like territory over like these actual points of location.
Yeah, if you find a portal it's blue and green, the Enlightened's green, the Resistance is blue. If you find a green portal, you can do various attacks to sort of return that to sort of neutral and take it yourself. And you can you can link that to two others or three, you know, and make these sort of triangular fields. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it's just as you guys are talking about that reminds me of the first time I've ever heard of Ingress or anyone I know playing it, and it just popped up in my head just because as you're saying that, I remember this time we were driving around. I think it was in London. Yeah, we were in London, and then we're driving around, and all of a sudden the guy driving, and then the guy in the back seat were just like, "Oh," I'm like, "Dude, you're driving." They're like,
playing it.
"Yeah,
They were
there's
playing.
portals," and then they try to explain to me. I'm
Oh
like,
my
"But the guy,
God.
because the guy in the back was getting the advantage. I think they're different factions, but they're passing through the
wow.
same thing." So the other guy was like, "I'll take advantage of this," and I was like, "Bro."
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that's like the players know way more than I do. Like these big anomaly events are big competitions that have big ramifications, and I know they do things like one of the main characters. A couple anomalies ago had this power, like these special things spawned wherever he went, and that character is aligned with one of the factions. So the people of that faction put him in a van and like drove him down a street, kind of like that. And then they had their agents on buses, like going back and forth, following it. And,
Oh my God.
And they pulled off some really strategic, like fourth quarter kind of turnaround on that one.
Wow. That's a whole new level of
Yeah,
They're really devoted to this game.
Because when they first explained it to me back then, I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
It was crazy. I used to actually play Ingress like
Really?
a
Do tell.
long time ago when it first popped up, and I was Enlightened. No, was I Resistance? I can't remember. I'm a bad loyalist. Anyway, I got to the point where I was walking around my neighborhood. At some point, I was just like, I would see like masses of people like gathering around a landmark, and I was like, that looks like social interaction. I'm gonna go home. And then I stopped. But
Yeah. It's one of my favorite sort of story delivery mechanisms we have is we call them media drops, and essentially like we have the portal network that crosses like the whole world, and we can sort of make it that like we could target a particular portal in a particular place for a particular time window and say anyone who hacks that portal gets this sort of media download, and it just links to whatever we want. And so like it's a fun way to be like we can set them up in anomaly events. We're running a game now that's sort of like people are solving clues to know where they have to go to hack a particular portal to get a particular piece of media. And it's as a person who likes this kind of stuff, knowing that like as a player, I could be the first person to hack a portal to get the first access
Right.
to like see a video of everyone in the world and
Right.
sort of get the credit for having found it and sharing it. Like that appeals to me as
That's
a story
incentive.
guy.
Super
Yeah.
cool.
Totally.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh,
Jinx.
You want me a soda?
I was gonna say. I mean, Ingress has been around for how many years now?
Like 7?
Yeah.
7
about
years,
that.
right? So then it's evolved a lot since then, right? So there's like Prime, and then now there's Nemesis, right? I mean,
Yes.
I only barely joined very recently on the bandwagon as Dr. Victoria Curies, which is part of the Resistance. But can you tell us a little bit about like the evolution of that, like moving into this new like generation, I suppose, and like how things have changed?
Yeah, this year we've gone a bit. We've sort of strayed a bit from that sort of like daily ARG asset drop thing. We still do those, but we've been sort of subbing in these sort of live streams, of which you did one, where like sort of taking live questions from fans, sort of standing in for some of the live interactions we would do at the live events. Nemesis has been this this group of like 13 almost supervillains in strange costumes that have showed up and are sort of threatening the world, or maybe not, And at this point, it's been revealed in the story that it's like alternate dimension versions of our heroes, because there's a whole multiverse in Ingress too. We kind of rebooted it a couple of years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
That original universe like still exists and people cross over from it, but we're in sort of a different world now. Yeah.
So how does the world of Ingress use like the multiverse theory? Like how does that come into play? Because I know there's like time travel and
Right.
portals and all that. So how do those interact?
We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later,
I was
too.
just going to
Really?
say
Yeah.
an excellent segue into the Alex Garland piece we're going to be.
Oh,
doing
yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
Episode.
How do we handle it? Well, it's interesting. Like when we did the reboot, like we definitely had like gender swaps and sort of like racial swaps. Like
Yeah, my character used to be male, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I sort of answered that like, one of the characters thinks that like, hey, he's like, I am an Asian man now in this world. Like maybe I'm destined to exist, and it doesn't quite matter who my parents are. Like, there's a lot of that, but I think historically there's a lot of future visions in Ingress, and I think historically that's been sort of spun as like a sideways vision into another universe that is slightly ahead of us, as opposed to the future and the world that we're in. So it's a little more like a possible thing.
Like a soft
see.
sci-fi type thing.
Yeah. There's
So-
a lot of sci-fi.
The plot of Nemesis, if I understand it correctly, because some of it goes over my head too. Like when you guys send me like long documents about like, hey, prep yourself for like the next live stream, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like-
sometimes that document is as much for me as it is for you.
Right. I mean, because like all of these characters that you've written are like, scientists that are in some way linked to the discovery of XM, the exotic matter. And they are all, pieces in this giant chess like set. And as far as the Nemesis story goes, right, like the 13 Shadow members are somehow threatening the main group of scientists from the Enlightened and the Resistance, right? So now both those factions have to team up against the members of Nemesis.
Yeah,
correct?
and we've sort of maintained Ingress is fundamentally a game of the two factions against each other. So, like in sort of the anomaly events and the competitions, that still exists. But in a broader sense, they are theoretically all aligned against Nemesis. Although it's
Gotcha.
coming out that Nemesis is just maybe from a post-apocalyptic world, and are maybe just kind of really in an almost like fascist terrorist way, like saying like, we just don't want that to happen here, and we're going to do whatever it is possible to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
And maybe we're going about it in the wrong way, but like
It's kind of like a Looper thing, right? Did you all see Looper,
Yeah,
the movie?
saw Looper.
Looper.
Right?
Going back to like just as a writer, and what would you say is either your personal goal for Ingress or for the company? Like, what is the main, goal for the company? Is it to create like a following, kind of social interaction, like, or just have great adventures with the fans, kind of thing?
I mean,
like that?
Our general company goals are like get people out walking, discovering their community, meeting people, being social. That's sort of like general Niantic, and I'm down for all that, of course. I mean, these days I like to create experiences for people, you know, like where they get to play a character or play themselves as a character in a fictional kind of world, you know. So I like run RPGs, and that was actually the context within which I was originally brought in. I had been writing for a live stream RPG show on Geek and Sundry's Alpha SVOD channel.
Cool.
And a guy I had met who went on to become my boss at Niantic saw me. I had met him at a conference, and we spoke 2 words to each other and added each other on Facebook. We didn't talk for years, as can tend to happen in LA. And I think he saw me shamelessly self-promoting this live stream RPG show, and they were trying to do some RPG stuff with Ingress, and they sort of brought me in as a freelancer just to run some RPGs at Ingress events, you know, in world for the fans. And then at some point they realized, like, oh wait, he does ARG and all the other things that we do, and we should probably, you know, just hire him full time. Which, I'll be honest, like, I'm still a little shocked that there is a job that has me do all the things I love and is full time, because most of these things are one-offs by definition. So it's been pretty cool.
That's so awesome.
That's pretty awesome. You're one of the few who's turned like DMing or GMing a TTRPG into like a job.
Into a job. That's right.
I definitely found a way to turn being a geek into a job, which is good because I was going to do it anyway.
I just think that's cool too. Is like you said, you guys only spoke a few words to each other, but you know, a few years down the line, it kind of came out to something great.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I moved to LA in 2004, came from the Philly area, got a job as a subtitler a week later, and I had that job for 14 years. I called it my day job the entire time. I was doing lots of sort of projects on the side for little to no money and lots of different things. Those web series and transmedia and tabletop RPGs and ARGs, and I can see in retrospect how A led to B led to C, but I couldn't predict it in the moment, which tends to be, I think, how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, so we do want to ask you a final question, because we know that you're a huge Star Wars fan. And just last week, we were talking about the future of the Star Wars franchise. So we wanted to ask you, do you feel that the Star Wars franchise is in trouble given recent media releases, or do you think like there's hope for it yet? Like, how do you feel about how the narratives are going so
Like
far?
A New Hope.
God, throw 'em out,
Like a
throw 'em
Revenge
out.
of the Sith.
Like a
I mean, you know, Star Wars was my first sort of geek obsession. It's probably what made me want to be a writer. You know, it was number 1. Marvel was 2. Now Disney owns all of it. But I mean, I've honestly been pretty happy with their stewardship of it. My sort of nadir was the prequels, and like I'm cool. Like, I know that people just a little bit younger than me, like that was their introduction to Star Wars, so I don't sit around and because I don't want to make people feel bad for liking the parts of Star Wars that they like. But that was that was the low point for me. Like, if Star Wars was like my religion, I became like an atheist for a while.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
But what are you now?
Oh, I'm much more excited about Star Wars again.
So you're agnostic. What has happened?
Or you're like
Taoist.
a lapsed
Taoist.
Catholic. Yeah.
Lapsed
Yeah.
Catholic.
Deist.
Like George R. R. Martin.
relapsed. I've relapsed back into my
Catholic
Catholicism.
light.
Yeah.
Catholic light.
I really loved The Mandalorian. I enjoyed.
Yes.
I really liked Galaxy's Edge.
But
Still have
what
to
did you
go.
think of the latest films?
Oh boy.
This is why I want to know. What are you really, Emmett?
I loved The Force Awakens. Was fine with Last Jedi and didn't like the last one. And that's exhausting.
That's
entire-
pretty.
That sounds
almost-
like what the box office thought.
It's almost like
for the most part.
it's almost like politics now. It's like there's so much of the fandom that's like you're wrong for liking or not liking this thing.
It's hard. It's toxic, right there, right? And
It
even
is.
just stating your opinion on these 3 films is kind of, it opens you up for a flame war.
Oh
Yeah.
So it's kind
Welcome.
of
It is
yeah.
casting a stone every time you speak about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
I
all
was
right.
bummed that Fantasy Flight's Star Wars RPG line is being discontinued.
I didn't know that they had one. That Fantasy Flight had one. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Nice.
I snatched up all the books when they laid off all their staff. And I
Was
was
it
like, I think
like,
they're going to discontinue the books, and then they said that they are. So
Ooh.
Was it D20 based, Fate, or
no, it's its own. It's they got some custom dice. I'm blanking on the name of the system.
Oh, cool.
I think it's Genesis. It's called Genesis.
got it? So it's Genesis. It's
Yeah.
like more RP ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, I mean, I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet, but I know that there's so much story and immersive material in the world of it, in the presentation of it. Do you feel like the stories or narratives presented in the amusement park actually help add to our understanding of like the saga as it stands? Like, does it introduce new material or like new characters?
Yeah, it does. I will say that
Wow.
to a lot of extent, you have to seek out that information and seek out. There's lots of tie-in novels and stuff. And what's fun about it, one of the fun things for that is like, I'll be reading the novel and I'll be like, I've been there. I've been there. And that doesn't usually happen when I'm reading Star Wars books. So
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Well, thank you, Emmett, for being here. That was super enlightening. That was super cool. If you want to stick around, we're going to talk about some more stuff.
Yeah,
and play a game. Not on this cast, but
But if
an
you're a
extra,
real follower
I
and a
know.
real fan, you'll
watch
see it
us
on YouTube.
Yeah, watch us on YouTube
Okay.
when we
Yeah.
play the game.
Nice.
But we are going to be talking about next Final Fantasy VII.
The remake.
The demo on PS4, which I know a lot of people got their hands on this week.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, only Jen here at the table. No, did you as well?
I downloaded it, but I haven't
Fail.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I
Walter.
watched her.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, so
So-
you did watch?
I did watch her, and I was
Okay.
commenting. I was
Overall
like,
impressions then.
But yeah, so I played this last night. As you can see, I'm kind of dressed as Tifa right now. But yeah, so I played it last night, and God, I was having so many feels. It was really crazy because I think I've memorized like the camera angles and how everything goes, at least for like the first sixth of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So to be able to see like all of those scenes played out, like the title card, the title
Right.
song, the entry into the first, when he gets off the train, when they blow up the first Mako reactor, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? These are classic scenarios that they took and put like a 360 camera and allowed you to look at all sides. I was just staggered at the fact that I could stand in one spot and look in a direction and see like world material that I had
Right.
never been able to see before.
I think somebody posted just like the first kind of flying through into Midgard, and I was just like, I can't watch this. I was like, I want to experience this myself.
too much.
Yeah,
I
it's too
haven't
much.
seen it or played it yet, but I remember when the first trailer came out and how cool that was. And
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it just pretty much
Yeah.
the same?
It's
yeah.
Yeah, because it's
I
really just the
mean-
beginning of the game. So it's like, but just
Yeah,
by
yeah,
that
yeah.
I mean like the same. Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really great. It's in the same like engine as like Advent Children, you know, so everything is like very beautiful
Yeah.
and like high def now.
Right.
It's no longer would you call it 12-bit back when it
It
was?
was a 32-bit system.
32-bit
Yeah.
system, yeah.
Yeah.
So like Cloud was still just like this little bulgy
Polygons,
thing
right.
with like 3 spikes for
Yeah.
hair.
But it was
With the
basically
12 polygons,
it,
yeah.
Yeah.
it looked like it's basically the cutscenes from the original
The FMVs,
is
full
the
motion
effects
videos.
for your like gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
good it is, and like Barrett, look, it was cool seeing Barrett too,
Yeah,
and like
yeah, yeah.
even the machine gun, the
Right.
detail, of
Gatling
his hand,
gun,
the
yeah, it was
Gatling
on-
gun, that was awesome. And then yeah, and, you know, because I was watching, because I just came home from working.
Yeah,
all weekend
Walter
out
was
of
watching
town,
my stream.
and I watched, and I was like, cool, I'm downloading it. I was so tired that I fell asleep as it's downloading on my PS4. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just watching it. I was like, dude, when you were fighting that boss,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, go after the tail. Can you check it? I
know you were trying to micromanage me on the channel.
Come on.
I was not having it. I was
she
like,
was like,
I'm
how
gonna do
do
what I
I
want to
defeat
do.
this? How do I defeat this?
So, what,
mansplaining at its
Yeah.
I
finest.
know. What did you think of the battle system?
Okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So they tried to marry. I mean, because the original was a turn-based system, right?
Right.
Like as with all like Final Fantasies prior to like 11.
Prior to, yeah, 11.
It's like
yeah.
all very like clicky, like attack, choose an attack. Magic, choose a spell.
Right.
Heal, choose a thing. Item, choose a thing, you know?
Right.
And you have to like basically be as adept at moving through the menu system
Right.
to like be able to attack or advance on anything. But with this one, it does have a very Kingdom Hearts feel because you are moving like three-dimensionally, you know? Like you can travel in any which way. When you attack, you can also like hit things in real time. However, you switch settings and you switch spells by using that same kind of menu control.
I
So
see.
it can feel kind of counterintuitive because I'm like, oh, now I have to jump between operative mode and like the aggressive mode, and now I have to switch between spells or whatever.
Yeah.
But I did talk about this while I was streaming it too, which is that I actually kind of appreciate that because it retains some of the feel of a turn-based system by like selecting menu features,
Right.
but still using that in real time.
It feels more active.
Yes,
Yeah. Got
it.
exactly.
'Cause-
Which I think is cool.
Yeah, because I was watching that. I was like, you were constantly either slashing or shooting, and I was just like, wait, there's no pause or
You wait your turn.
There's some pause when you're switching in between like
Characters.
tactics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
characters as
and
well.
characters as well. So can you do this? I mean, it's a question I've had. But can you set like your, for example, can you take like Cloud or whatever, and then like set Barrett and like Yuffie to do something else?
I believe so, yes, because there are targeting systems, right? So if you
Got it.
switch between characters, you can set Barrett with his Gatling gun at a security camera, which is out of reach for Cloud's Buster Sword,
Right.
but within reach for his Gatling gun.
Right, right.
And then he's attacking that while you're like focusing on ground enemies or whatever.
Got it.
You know, but
Fun.
it's so cool too because like all of the enemies in game are exactly the enemies from the original,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize like some of these monsters from Final Fantasy don't make any sense at all. Like
Oh,
they're,
they never
they're
did.
not even like actual animals. They're not even actual human beings. There's this one that looks like I don't know, like you know those lollipops you get from the circus that are like just like twisted around,
Right,
and it
right.
has like these little floaty tentacles on the
yeah.
side, and it's just floating in midair, and like 4 of them come at you, and you're like, I don't know what this is. Should I be threatened? Like I'm just fighting these things.
You just go with it.
I
Just go
knew
with it.
what like the kind of ride I was in for while playing Final Fantasy when I think it was Final Fantasy IV when you run into a Cactuar for the first time.
Oh my god,
Oh.
Cactuars!
Yeah. And I was like, what is this? This looks stupid. And then it like
Stupid.
one-shots you.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like a very OP tiny
Right.
cactus toy.
Right. But the Final Fantasy, I've always loved the character designs
Yeah.
for the monsters. They've never made sense to me.
They've never made sense, but that's part of the camp of it.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
like if you look at all the toys or like and this because they usually release toys of all the summons. They're always like wild and fantastical.
Right.
It's like a dragon shouldn't look like that, but it does. But
Behemoth,
it works.
Ifrit, Shiva.
Yeah.
I remember that was one of the first sort of open world games I remember like trying to 100% like, you know, it was like Emerald Weapon and Ruby Weapon.
Oh wow, you
Yeah.
actually did the weapons?
Yeah. Wow.
I was too impatient for that.
Yeah.
I was just like,
In
subsequent
I don't
games,
know.
I found myself too impatient. There were ones
Oh,
where it was
right.
like I would like pause and go to sleep and go to work and then come back and turn it back on, and then I was like, I'm good, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that was when I finally beat those guys. That was
Oh, yeah.
that was something.
I'm just looking forward to see like all the what do you call the
The summons, the
Shivas,
materia.
Yeah.
just the demigods, the
Dude, Knights of the Round in
Oh,
this new
that's gonna
engine
be
is going to
cool.
be dope. And Supernova, when you're actually fighting
Oh,
Sephiroth.
yeah.
Dude.
I mean,
Omni Slash.
Omni
though.
Slash. Ah,
What?
it's going to be so
Caitlin, you're
dope.
still with us?
we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you to play. We're gonna get you
No,
to play.
I'm listening.
Another,
I mean,
Yeah.
but for those of you who don't know, like the Final Fantasy system, if you are attacking, you build up your limit gauge, which is like a special powered up ability. So like a summons or certain
Summons,
abilities
that was the word I was looking for.
can
Yeah.
be part of the that limit break. So
Omni
then there are
Slash,
different
yeah.
types of abilities. Omni Slash being one of them, which finally Cloud uses to kill Sephiroth.
Spoiler.
I know. I mean, you should know this by now. It's been
know.
around for decades.
Are we gonna say what happens to Aerith? Is that what's going
I
to
already know. I've already seen it.
I
I've
know.
watched
Well,
it.
I-
I know what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed things in this one.
No, I think it's
You know
the
what'd be
same.
cool though? Is like, do you remember in Advent Children how they animated Omni Slash?
I don't
Oh, it
remember.
was so dope. It's like it was. I'm gonna nerd out here, but anyway, it was Cloud like suspending Sephiroth in the air, and then like all 7 of the swords that were inside the Buster Sword came out.
Oh,
Whoa.
nuts, yeah.
And then just like rammed him in midair. Wow.
Yeah, and then he
Rammed him in midair.
Rammed him in midair.
rammed him in midair.
Multi-sword bukkake
I'm
moment.
glad you said it.
Suspended.
That was-
Not me.
It's a yaoi moment.
They straddled him in midair and rammed him.
Slash.
It's like that meme where there's like all these like the knights of the round table with their swords.
Welcome to the table. everyone.
You've had your
the right
proper
night,
interaction to Pangeekery now.
I know.
Fantastic.
But yeah, Knights of the Round is basically all the knights around King Arthur's table, all like going up and, you know,
Having
taking
their
their turn
turn.
at smashing your enemy.
Really quick from
Sounds
the
like
chat.
a Tuesday.
Gabriel Bosco, did they remaster the soundtrack music? It's so legendary. They did.
Oh my God, they did!
Yeah.
Oh my God, okay.
Sound-wise.
So
Yeah.
like the original music is very like.
It's very MIDI. You can hear it's a
like-
patch.
It's
somebody
from the
played on a
90s.
synthesizer
Yeah.
and it's like, well, that's lovely, and you know, keep that thing.
Right.
You'll have a future someday, kid. But like in this version, it was like full on orchestral,
yeah.
like it's like living and breathing music.
Oh, it's so
which
good.
is so gorgeous.
To this day, like the best concert I've ever been to is the Final Fantasy concert.
Yes, I went to the last one too.
Oh, it was
last
so
year.
good.
Curious to hear One Winged Angel. The new
Oh,
One
me
Winged
too.
Angel.
I can't wait.
Oh,
I
good.
can't wait.
Oh my God.
My brain's all over
One-
the screen. We should like stream that live and just so people can clip my head blowing up.
Head blowing up, and then us picking up.
Yeah. Not even
gonna have
that.
a
Just
geekgasm.
actual
Do a
like.
close up as it's
Yeah.
I
happening.
know.
Oh my God.
I'll call it out, guys. It's gonna happen.
What I did notice in this demo was that a lot of dialogue and cutscenes and extra little interactions are added that are not
Right.
part of the original. I think to fill out some space in that was maybe fill out some stuff that was missing from the original narrative, or to like just fill us in on stuff that's going on. So like even in the title sequence when Aerith walks through the alleyway and comes back out, and then the camera zooms up to a bird's eye view. This is being very geeky right now. That we spend a lot longer with Aerith coming down the alleyway because
Right.
there's like more story material there. Or like when you're helping fight the first Mako reactor, Jesse, one of the members of Avalanche, asks you about like, oh, do you know Tifa?
Right.
And it's like, well, that conversation never happened. But I assume if you went to blow up a Mako reactor together, you would be having conversations, right? So
Right.
like they have to think about these things, and it's so smart the way they put them together.
Is all that like dialogue too? It's like recorded dialogue, or is it? Oh wow, they recorded
Yeah.
all of that. Oh,
They did.
That could have been you,
interesting.
Earl.
I know.
You slacked.
You could have been Barrett.
What
Yeah.
could have been buried. I know.
I
That would have been
said
interesting.
I said in the playthrough too, I was like,
Right.
I really want to just stay here to see how long they're going to have idling conversations and how long that will
Right.
go on for. But, you know, the game made me move forward, so I wasn't able to listen to that. But I'm very curious to see how much dialogue they would have and about what.
I wonder if you'll be able to do that in the retail version.
I wonder too.
Yep.
Wedge and Big still hanging around, I think.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Wedge and Biggs are there. Biggs is hot, man. He looks like, I mentioned this in the game cast as well. He looks like an Asian Nathan Drake meets Solid Snake.
Whoa, that's a
Nathan
bad
Drake meets
description.
Solid Snake.
So there's
It's like the beginning of a rap song.
yeah. I can tell. I already know that guy's testosterone level is like up here somewhere.
just floating
Yeah.
in your hand.
He has more testosterone than his body can handle. It's just
Things to aspire to, Earl.
yeah.
Oh my
I know.
God.
Well, thanks.
Oh my God.
Damn.
Anyway.
Savage.
But yeah.
That's cool.
Excited for the April release.
Yeah, same here. It's only 2 months away, right? Or 1 month away?
1
1
month,
month
away.
away.
Less
Yeah,
than
1 month away.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
I got that much time to finish Odyssey.
I know. Finish
Oh my
the damn
God.
game.
You're not going to
It's
finish
so
it in
long.
time. It's long.
It's a long ass game.
Just power through it.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Devs, which is a series on Hulu. The showrunner is Alex Garland, who has also run other games, other shows.
Well,
Off the top
Alex
of my head.
Garland did.
We're not going to say which ones.
He's the director of Ex Machina, which
Ex
starred
Machina, there it goes. God
Alicia
dang it.
Vikander.
He wrote it too.
He
Yeah.
wrote it
Yeah,
as
wrote the
well.
screenplay.
He also directed Annihilation. Pretty sure he wrote that as well.
That's right. He
Yeah.
did.
And yeah. Oh, he adapted
Yeah, but
it from
he
the
but he
novel,
wrote the
he wrote the
screenplay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody saw the first episode.
Yes, we did. Well,
What?
except for
Not
Emmett.
Emmett, but
Emmett
we're
not.
gonna.
Are you okay with
We're gonna
talking about
tell you what
spoilers?
happens.
I'm okay with yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, there's not much going on in the first episode
this
in
is
terms
true.
of plot points.
Can we
there's not
just
a lot.
talk about Alex Garland's pacing? Because
Right.
he
Okay.
has a special
Absolutely,
like,
he does.
signature tone of
Right.
his, which is very like noir esque,
Mm-hmm.
is the best way I can describe it, right?
Right.
Things are kind of like eerie and like tightly wound, but
It's a lot of
also
what's
not
going
too
on.
much happens, but then
Right.
you know something's wrong.
There's always this.
Well,
always
there's a
this
sense of
undercurrent.
foreboding, which
Yeah.
actually lends itself to the horror genre in many
Yeah.
aspects, which you can see in Annihilation.
I still need to see that.
Oh my god, it's fantastic. I actually don't have a problem with this pacing. I think
I
it's
don't have it either.
perfect for the genre itself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of exterior location shots. There's a lot of like, zooming in. There's a lot of the soundtrack that's very chilling.
Right.
And I think that taps into a lot of anxieties that people have in regards to technology and the abuse of technology. And that's what he's trying to kind of, that's what
Yeah,
he's
I
trying
get that.
to get across in his narratives. I don't know, personally. And I love his opening sequences. They're always really well thought out. Maybe he's not the best director when it comes to performances. I don't know.
Are we
Annihilation.
going to talk about that right now?
Oh, I don't know. I just
open it
dipped
on us,
myself,
guys.
Because I have feelings about
I
that
have
too.
feelings as
well,
well.
Annihilation and Ex Machina, I think, were great when it
Right,
came
Well,
to
yeah.
Alicia
casting.
Vikander is like a
Everyone,
goddess.
no, like everyone in his movies are great. I don't know how I felt about this show casting wise.
Right. Same.
And
Anyway,
go
General
general thoughts
yeah,
first.
general thoughts first.
So, I mean, generally the story is about this quantum company, right? That has like an AR division, has like a data division or something, and then it has a devs
crypto
division.
division, yeah.
So we don't exactly know from the first pilot episode what exactly the devs department does yet,
Right.
except that it's like the most secretive division within Amaya. And there's a couple that works there, right? The woman is played by Sonoya Mizuko.
Sonoya Mizuno.
Mizuno,
Right?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the boyfriend is played. Well, I mean, he plays the
Sergei.
character Sergey, and they both work at this company. And then Sergey gets promoted to the devs department, and then subsequently has a mental breakdown and is murdered. So
With a plastic bag.
with a plastic
Right.
bag by his employers, which I'm not sure I understand why yet.
Oh, well, he was
well,
stealing.
he stole their code.
Yeah.
Remember, he was
In the
playing with
watch.
his watch.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then a lot of like, they set you up for this like kind of anxiety thing because when
Right.
you see Sergey first look at the code when he enters the devs department, he like subsequently has like a mental
He loses
breakdown.
all
Breakdown.
shit.
Bathroom.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like throws up in the bathroom,
But it's not clear what the code is.
Right.
Exactly.
It could be anything.
So his boss says something. His boss doesn't even tell him what to do.
It's
he
Nick
just
Offerman,
says, "I'm not
by
going
the
to
way.
tell you." Yeah, dude from The Hangover.
No.
No, Parks and
Oh,
Rec.
Parks and Rec.
You're
But he's
thinking
also
of,
from The Hangover, isn't he?
You're
No,
thinking
that's
of
Zach
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
Wow.
Shit, that's right. Oh, dude, they look
Here's
so
the thing.
similar.
They made Zach Galifianakis' hairstyle
The same,
but
right?
put
It's
it
the
on
beard.
Nick
Nick
Offerman.
Offerman.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
It's
He looks
the
so
beard.
different. I was just like, is that Offerman? I had to look it up on IMDb to make sure it
All right,
was him.
Yeah.
my brain's blown right
But also
now.
Alison Pill is in it.
Alison
Oh,
Pill,
right,
who's
right.
also in Picard.
In,
Picard,
She's in like
yeah.
every
She's in every like
thing
sci-fi
as a
anyways.
supporting character.
Right.
But he doesn't tell Sergey what to do. He
Right.
says, "You're gonna figure it out."
Yeah.
And then Sergey immediately has a breakdown in the bathroom. Now I don't read code.
It doesn't
But
matter.
okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did that mean anything to you guys? Because I was looking at it and I was like, what does it mean?
It's. I think right now it's all about conjecture. What could this
What
possibly
could this
be? And what does
potentially
it like
mean?
represent?
Right.
It could be. Is this like the perfect simulacrum of God, or what is it? It could
Well,
be anything.
not Zach Galifianakis, whatever his name
Nick
is.
Offerman.
Nick Offerman.
Yeah.
That guy.
Forrest. This is the character's
Forrest.
name.
Yeah.
Oh, is that his name?
He says, "I don't believe in the multiverse.
Right.
That's right.
The universe is deterministic.
Right.
There is no such thing as free will.
Right.
So I'm guessing it has something to do with some kind of existential, universal
Well, it could be that.
God concept.
There's a lot of foreshadowing with regards to that
Yeah.
because, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing that got Sergei into the door.
Was the tapeworm
Yeah.
experiment.
Him predicting the movements
Movement.
of a nematode,
a nematode.
Right.
using
Whatever.
software.
Yeah.
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 Using an algorithm. So it was, and when he talked about like quantum computing, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and just the longer the simulation goes, the larger the number crunching gets.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mind-boggling when you think about the odds that you would have to calculate to make this happen.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he brings up the multiverse is just an interesting thing because that always gets connected somehow to quantum
Right.
computing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand the concept of quantum computing?
Yes, all of it, every single concept.
Nice.
Every single one of them. I get them.
All of it.
Everything I learned
all
about
the-
quantum computing, I learned from Ant-Man.
They actually doesn't do too bad of an
Really?
explanation of quantum
Yeah.
computing.
Well, Professor Balon.
Wait, okay. So
Enlighten us.
explain.
Well, so when you have like an ordinary computer, yeah, you can jump in on this too. I'm
Emmett, you
guessing.
can jump in whenever you like.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Don't mind if I
I
do.
think is the idea. Oh, sorry, yeah, is like that. There's a bunch in the multiverse. There are a bunch of other similar computers that are running computations that.
Right.
So
So
that's a theory anyway.
it's like so when you have a regular computer, a machine, right? Well, like the one we're using right now, everything is built on the concept of binary. It's either 1 or 0. It's either on and off or off. In a quantum computer, they can exist in 2 super states or 3 super states: neutral, off, and on. So they can exist in all those at different times.
Wait, like the cat?
Kind of like
Schrodinger's
Schrodinger's
cat?
cat,
Yeah,
except with
Schrodinger's
3
cat.
modes instead
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the theory is that maybe that's what some people think is that that's tapping into an alternate, a different
Reality.
reality, like a multiverse for it to exist.
But
in
he
3
says
different
he's not a
states.
fan of the multiverse theory.
But
It's just a
or
conjecture.
he's
Remember-
just it's like a
Misdirection.
Yeah, misdirection.
Sergey,
Misdirection as
Sergey
well.
offered something during that presentation, right? He said, like, it can either be some long drawn out theory, which I don't remember him saying, or it could be the multiverse theory. And
Right.
then Nick
Oh, right,
Offerman
right,
shoots
right,
down
right.
the multiverse theory.
Right.
Yes.
So it could be that, like, whatever Devs is working on, because, there is this entire sequence when Nick Offerman's character is walking Sergey through the field to get to Devs and asks him, what do you think Devs is about? And at the very, very end, Forrest offers it's alchemy. That's all he says.
he does say that.
Well,
yeah.
he's talking about what is he? He's talking about something in particular that is alchemy. I forgot what it was. He says this: it's alchemy. But I guess I mean that's kind of what he's doing too. He's trying to predict, predict movement, trying to predict the goings of the universe. Whether or not that's what they're working on at Devs is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. This has got me like hooked enough to like watch at least another episode. What
Man, I
was
wonder
that?
if Sergey was able to predict where it was going, and that's what made him sick. Like, just he could
think
see
so.
where the code was going to go, regardless if
Right.
it's
Like
he was smarter than
multidimensional.
everyone else. He was
well,
like, I
that
know
or
where
he
this
can
is
just
going.
I think
piece
he
enough
knew-
together,
Right, I
whether
think-
it kills people or World
But
War III
remember,
or
he
a new
talked
dimension.
to Pilly Girl.
Alison Pill's
Alison
character.
Pill.
Pilly Girl.
I don't know these people's names. Pilly Girl.
Hey, Pilly Girl.
He spoke to Pilly Girl and he said, doesn't this change everything?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, if it's true, then it
It
changes
changes
nothing.
nothing.
What does that mean? I was
Yeah.
like, I need to know. What does that mean?
That could mean a lot of things. I
Yeah.
think.
That's a deterministic statement, right?
Right.
Which
Probably,
is that
yeah.
like, does everything change then? If anything could just be anything?
Yeah.
No, because then anything could just be anything.
Dude, that's
It could be.
That's determinism.
smart.
It
I
could
love
be.
it. I
It
love
could
it.
be as simple as like them. Hey, Aaron Nabis, thanks for the sub. Thank
Thank you, Aaron.
Hey,
It could be something simple as like they're finally breaking through the wall of the matrix. That
I think
everything,
so.
Yeah.
everything is a simulation.
simulation.
And then, so,
I think so.
I got chills.
so it could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
It could be that they're finally understanding the an algorithm that mimics a deity, God. It could be something
think
like
so.
that.
Yeah,
It could be
yeah.
a lot of
It could be
things.
what is it called? The Higgs boson kind of God particle.
God
Oh, the God
particle.
Except
particle, yeah.
the quantum computing
Right.
equivalent of that.
It makes all
Right.
gravity work.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about? Because we brought it up already. The acting, the casting.
Oh, I'm not a huge fan of the acting. But here's the thing. I don't know. I think his Sorry, I mean, like,
You can
this
say
is
whatever.
just my personal
This is a
opinion.
safe space.
But
The internet.
Wait,
No one will ever hear it again.
The internet.
Yeah.
Safe to share our opinions.
yeah.
Start off, yeah.
Okay, Rodney's starting off.
So I watched. They have 2 episodes actually up online. So I watched both.
Okay.
Okay.
Mainly because I wanted to see, because the first episode, the main actress
Sonoya.
didn't have so much to do, right?
Right.
In this
In the first episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't as much, right? So because like literally, she to me
Right.
is the biggest flaw of her acting.
The whole
Damn.
production, the casting of her was the biggest flaw.
Because the cinematography is amazing.
Yeah.
The music is
The music's
amazing.
amazing.
Like the concept, I mean, obviously we're only 2 episodes in. The concept seems like amazing. But like her acting is like
nails
leaves a
on a
lot to be
chalkboard.
desired.
It's,
Yeah.
it is
Right?
hard to watch.
So it was
sometimes.
real. Yeah, there was some times with it. So that. And then the boyfriend, the Russian guy,
Sergey.
I recognize him from some other things, but we won't get into that.
No, Sergey.
That's what it sounds- I mean,
So
that's
what
the
did
idea
you
was.
see?
Caitlin, walk us through what Sergey.
So
the actor,
the episode opens up and I'm like, oh my god, it's the dude from Love, the movie Love by Gaspar Noé,
Oh,
where it's
Love,
like
right,
they're
right,
like
yeah.
like the first 5 minutes is him nutting on screen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's all unsimulated sex, and like the majority of the film is just people banging, you
Right.
know. And then I thought, why does he have this weird Russian accent? So I thought his acting was really good, but the accent was tripping me up.
Right.
Because I was like, why couldn't they just cast someone with a real Russian accent or someone who could actually pull it off convincingly? He's got a great actor though.
Right.
Really. He's Zoe Kravitz's husband.
Really?
Yeah. Factoid for y'all tonight.
God.
That's
So
Zoe
that's-
Kravitz's
that's-
Yeah, you lost out to
That's
Sergey.
Jason Momoa's son-in-law.
Yeah, yep.
Anyway.
That's Zoe Kravitz's husband. Yeah.
Well, it's because you brought up the accent, I'm going to
Yeah.
bring it up with regards to Sonoya.
Sonoya.
And she's British, right?
She's
something,
British
yeah.
and half Japanese.
Right. But I assume she was born in
She has a British accent.
yeah, she's British
regular
actually,
life.
Oh,
naturally.
like a British nationality. Yes.
And I was just like, just let her speak in her,
Yeah,
her,
why
her
does she?
natural
British
accent.
accent.
Because like
British.
it's like her-
English.
It's I mean, it's easy for us to say because like we're used to this, this non-regional like California dialect.
Mm-hmm.
But like
yeah.
a lot of it's distracting because it's not 100% on point.
But the thing is, in part of the story, though,
Right.
is that she's a third-generation Chinese American.
Right.
And he is a Russian immigrant.
Right.
In
Yeah,
America.
So
and
you're
they're trying to
saying they
say-
could have just hired a Chinese
Yeah.
American actor?
I know.
No, but they
Right.
wanted.
Well, yeah. That's,
You
we're
know
talking
what?
about
It was
casting,
kind of
so,
funny,
yeah.
and I don't know if you know what. Sometimes I just look for things to be offended by.
I appreciate your honesty
You know?
there, at least.
No, but I'm not nearly as bad as most people. I think people just
I'm
want.
offended.
No,
Did you
people
say that,
want to be
Walter?
offended, but
Right.
I didn't even realize that she was Asian. Like I saw her, and then when they said, "Oh yeah, my girlfriend's Chinese," I was like, "No, she's not." And then I looked at her more closely in the next scene, and I was like, "Oh fuck, it's the chick from Ex Machina."
Right.
You know,
Right.
I totally forgot that you told me she was going to be in it.
She's from
and
Ex Machina.
I don't know. I just kind of didn't really buy it as much. I don't know. I know she's biracial, but I was like, interesting.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I hope it gets better. It's a weird choice. I feel like just let people use their natural accents, unless you know.
I don't even think it's just her accent
Yeah.
though. It's
Right.
her stick figure.
I mean, it could be just
one-dimensional way of acting.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
painful.
it's the British actor thing. Is to just you got to have an American
just
role
mumble.
at one point.
Yeah.
If you're British Australian, you have to have at least several roles as an American.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Alex Garland does have a penchant for like that kind of like mumblecore type acting.
Yeah.
Mumblecore,
It's
He's
right.
also
totally
a fan of
mumblecore.
mumble rap.
Yeah. Get out.
Mumble rap. Boo!
Yeah.
I deny your liking of that. No.
Because there's the woman who plays Jen in Devs, who was also
yeah.
6 from Stranger Things,
And she was bad in that one too.
Ouch.
What was she in Stranger Things?
she was 6, like Elle's,
Oh, 6.
Elle's
Season two.
experimental
Sister.
brother,
Yeah.
Yeah.
experimental sister.
Right.
She was
know.
also in this, and she was very expressive in Stranger Things, but
Right.
they also kind of like stoiced her down for devs, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's like also a stylistic choice.
I think
so, too.
it's because he has that kind of style even in
Ex Machina.
Annihilation.
Right.
I couldn't get through Ex Machina. I'm sorry. I know
I
it's
think
like
you
a
like
classic.
Annihilation. It's a
I think
different
I'll,
writer.
I think
Yeah.
I'll definitely like Annihilation more, but
It's
I really
still
could not
tough.
get through Ex Machina.
It's
It's very grating for me. Like the pacing is just like not enough reward for the amount of time they're asking me to wait for it.
That's
In
how I
Ex
feel about a
Machina?
Jane Austen novel. Like all her novels are like that to me.
I don't feel that way.
I
I loved Pride and Prejudice and I loved Sense and Sensibility, but that's not what we're talking about.
I understand,
here.
but like I'm just surprised that you guys are saying that because I usually have the shortest attention span. I'm usually the one who's like, this is going too slow. I need it to go faster. But I feel like this one for me, I don't know, maybe it's just very sensory and atmospheric. That's why I enjoy it.
Here's my problem, real quick. Sorry,
Yeah,
Earl. Is that I feel like when you go at this pacing, you either have to make a huge payoff at the end that you couldn't see coming, but at this rate, I feel like they're delaying me just to withhold information from me that I would have otherwise pieced together had the pacing been different. You know what I mean?
I could see that.
So I feel slightly cheated
It's
out of a
deliberately,
narrative
like, lengthy.
because it's
Yeah.
just deliberately like suspended from me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Interesting.
as for Emmett, that's a good question for you. Like as a
As a
writer,
writer.
like what do you think about that kind of writing, or even when?
Delayed like gratification.
I mean, generally I'm for it, but I've definitely experienced things where I'm like, oh no, like exactly
too
what-
much.
Yeah, you know, that's a big part of what I do in the RPGs I run. Like, it's like pace this stuff out over time.
Right.
Yeah, you have to find like a level of like how willing are people to participate if you like delay the gratification of something. You know,
Right.
like what is the correct balance of like feeling like you're following the proverbial carrot on your nose versus like
Because the longer you
Yeah,
delay
totally.
it, the bigger
It
I
needs
want
to
the
be.
payoff
Exactly,
to be.
the bigger
but for
payoff
the
needs to be.
some of his stuff, I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the payoff.
I mean, like Lost. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am always going to bring that
Hey now.
Got a lot of that over there.
up. Staunch opponent of the end of Lost. Will
did you
forever
like
be.
the end of Lost?
I didn't hate it as much as everyone else, just because I
I
had
still hated it. I'm
one
just kidding.
specific thing that I wanted it to not be, and it wasn't that thing. So I was like, okay.
As long as
What was
take
that?
God.
What was that thing?
I weirdly, I thought it was going to be like that one of those two timelines was invalidated. And I was like, what was the point of us even watching it? But
Right.
weirdly, it wasn't because they were in purgatory.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like,
how I read
so I'm
it.
like, you didn't do the thing I didn't
Not
want you to
quite
do.
purgatory?
I don't really like what you did, but all right.
See, I haven't even seen the show, and that's already making me mad. Like the whole purgatory bullshit thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's what people said at the very beginning of the show too, right? It was like,
I
But
saw
it's
the
about
first
the
episode.
journey. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit. I don't give 100 shits.
But I
love that
thought you
first
didn't like
season.
the ending.
I didn't.
Oh, so it is about the ending also, not just the journey. Is what you're trying to say.
I was just mocking.
He was
it.
okay.
mocking people that were saying it's about the journey.
Yeah. See? I could do that too. I could literally sit down and shit out a story and make it like interesting
man.
during the journey
Here's
and
the
then
thing.
give no payoff.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
that's true.
I mean, Lord.
Yeah.
I should. I do it every time I run a DM.
D&D. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Lord of the Rings is about the journey too. You can say it is
Right.
all about the journey.
But the
However,
ending's great.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
Thank
Sorry,
you for
guys.
still
I'm kind
got
of slow
my-
today.
Thank you for waiting for my thing.
Sorry.
It's about the journey, yes, but the ultimate end is to defeat Sauron, and they do it. You know, so
do.
like do.
What was that? That scared me.
I don't know. It sounded like something.
Sauron.
fell
What
in
if
the
it's
room.
an earthquake?
It was Sauron. We
No.
didn't like what we
Sauron.
said.
The enemy of the free peoples of Middle Earth.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Is that like ultimately the ending needs to culminate in something that makes the journey feel worthwhile.
Right.
And if the journey itself was only the only reward that you got, I'm sorry, but I don't buy into the alchemist
get
in
it.
that way. But because
Whoa,
Whoa.
don't be speaking about the alchemist like,
Like
that.
the
That
clip.
shit changed my life.
the book,
I am
the
where I am
ending
today.
is the beginning. Like fuck off.
Are you kidding me? That's the smartest part. He was lying on top of the treasure from the beginning. It's about the journey.
Oh God, I just like shot myself right now. Just
The
anyway,
Alchemist.
yeah. So I'm gonna continue watching devs. I don't know if you guys.
I
are,
think I will too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can
I'll
tell me
continue.
about it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to
Oh,
watch the
damn.
next few episodes.
Yeah. So let's move on to our geeky Rex. Our geeky Rex. Who has any geeky Rex for this
fuck.
week?
Oh.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
geeky Rex, first of all, is something that you're really like into right now that you would like to share with.
That's perhaps
podcasting
lesser
company.
known
Yeah.
or like not as mainstream or it could be something
Please.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, preferably something very unique to you.
Yeah, well, I've got something for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have gone way down the rabbit hole on this LARP called Twin Mask. It's
What is
It's my
that?
first LARP.
Is that one that John is running? John and John.
Bassett?
Yeah, John Bassett.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So the only time I've ever LARPed was with John.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
It's the best. It's like all the things I love about immersive theater and tabletop role playing, except like 40 hours at a time and
Oh my God.
Three-
It's crazy.
300
They do
people
weekends,
and-
yeah.
Are you like camping there or something?
Yeah.
I got an Airbnb. Most people camped. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Where do you guys?
It's so
Where do you
much
guys?
fun.
Where do you do it?
This one is in Corona, no relation to the virus.
I hope not.
Oh, sure.
That's what they all say.
It's
We're all
at
getting
a
tested after this.
Renaissance Fair site. So it's like this little old timey town.
by
They're, like, in the
Irwindale?
town. I don't know.
Oh, okay, never mind. Oh yeah, you're not really from here, but
No, no.
okay.
But it's just the rabbit hole goes very, very deep if you
Wow.
want
Wow.
to. And yeah.
Are you
What-
playing?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I was wondering a specific character of some kind.
Yeah, I'm
or-
playing an elf, although that's a bad word. It's like we're called a fendel, and so I have to wear ears, you know. And
Right.
like prosthetic ears.
Yeah. Or I mean, some people just. I actually got some silicone ears, but like, yeah, it kind of runs the gamut.
What's
I
your
guess Jeff Goldblum played last year. There's like a segment
Wow.
on. He did it for his show, you know, the Disney Plus show. Yeah, there's a segment where, and he was like winking at it. It didn't take it quite as seriously as the rest of us do. But I mean, what am I saying? I've only been there one time, so.
Yeah.
But I
What's your
way.
weapon?
like a dagger. I'm like more assassin-y. I've got kind of
How much do you
Assassin's Creed
pay
kind of
to attend these kinds of
It's
events?
$60 for the weekend.
Oh, that's
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
And do you make friends and all that?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's a big community. It's like they have every week in North Hollywood. They have fight practice because it's a
Oh yeah,
offer
It's
I've,
LARP.
se- I've
you
seen
know.
those guys. Yeah.
Do
and-
you have to kill people?
You don't have to. You can
You
sort
can
of
if you want.
studiously avoid
Yeah.
fighting. There's a whole like 4-hour NPC shift you do where like you do whatever they ask you to do. Like one time I was like part of this youth gang and we just like ran around and be
youths.
as obnoxious as possible. We were called the Salamanders and got arrested. And at the time we were these assassins like hiding in alleys and like ambushing people. And
Oh my
it was a
God.
good way to like sort of stakes-free combat because like I'm like I don't want my guy to die, but as this kind of NPC, whatever.
I have to ask, in something as large scale as this, for as long as it's going for, is there like a main director? How do people stay on narrative? Or is it just this giant improv game for 40 hours?
There is story staff, and they have what they call mods, and they'll be walking around with white headbands, which indicate that they're like not present. But they sometimes sort of have us all close our eyes and narrate some stuff that can't physically happen because it's like magical.
Right.
But you know.
Oh, wow. So
and-
there's like moments of like suspended disbelief or
Yep.
like narrative insertion where you're like, okay, close your eyes and imagine this. So this is the reality now.
Yeah, and there's a lot
Whoa.
of agency to like. You can also you go to them and be like, hey, I'd like to research a spell that does this, and it will take a while, but you know, there's a lot of agency. You know, like I want to explore this storyline, and you know, just like any game master, they'll be like, well, we weren't planning to do that, but since you want to do it, let's figure that out. Like you don't just
Yeah.
have to stick
Cool.
to the script of whatever they're doing, and you can make your own game. Some people, I go and talk to the people who are just there to fight, and I try to tell them about like the deep lore stuff I found. I see their eyes glazing over because and that's fine. Some people just wander around and be like merchants, and you know, I'm sort of political, like story guy, RP guy. So just
Wow.
yeah.
Because you could,
I'm sold.
Because you could be a merchant there and actually be a real merchant and just have
Yeah.
a table and
Like
sell
actually
stuff
No,
too,
people
right?
do sell
Like-
stuff, and sometimes it's for in-game money, sometimes it's for real money, sometimes it's either.
That's cool.
It's so much fun. Like
That's
And there's
Great.
food there, I assume, too.
food, you're more or less on your own.
You know, hunt
Really?
for you got to hunt for your own food.
But
you
you
have to,
can't buy food off
Yeah.
these merchants?
It's 40 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a chef, but like, you know, there's a
long
county,
lines,
and
right?
you need to have like special, you know.
Way to take you out of it.
Permits.
There should be like
Yeah.
roast beef spewing on a stick
I'm sure there's a food truck somewhere near.
somewhere in the tacos.
Anybody else have a geeky rec?
For me, I just Altered Carbons.
Season 2.
Season
Carbons?
2. Carbons? Carbon.
Like, just one Abram.
Well, there's more than one of him, sir. I can't.
Carbon.
Carbon
Who's
or Carbon?
the lead actor this time around?
It's Falcon.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then, but interesting storyline for Takeshi Kovacs. I want to say
Nice.
Kovacs, but they say
Kovacs,
Kovacs.
yeah.
Kovacs.
The RPG for that is, I think, on Kickstarter now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Friends of mine
Cool.
put that together, so that's
Wow.
check that out.
I need to finish the first season.
Yeah.
I was enjoying it, and then I watched it with my friend, and he shat on it, and then I became embarrassed to like it.
No,
So,
I
but
mean,
I,
it's
I should
good.
not be. I should not be. You know.
I had some of my Facebook friends kind of like shit on it.
Yeah.
And they weren't too happy about the ending, but I mean,
It was okay.
I was okay. I wasn't mad. I didn't feel like it was like lost, and it opens it up to the third season.
Cool.
And yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I'm happy with it. Let's see the third season. So I didn't hate
Nice.
it. I didn't like super love it, but pretty neutral.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Anybody else?
I downloaded this app called Tappy Tune.
That sounds so cute.
Yeah,
Tappy
and,
Tune?
I'm getting mad because they keep making me pay for more tokens to read more chapters.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a comic?
It's
a
like
webtoon?
manga.
Oh, it's like a webtoon.
You remember that horse? Okay, don't look. There's nudity. There's different genres. You know,
So romance.
different genres. But I've been, I'm kind of. It's like crack. I buy these novels,
Wait,
and then
how do you
they
know how crack works?
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, Walter. But they bait you with these like beginning chapters, and they
Right.
hook you that way, and then they say you must unlock more tokens
Microtrans.
to buy more chapters. But
Right.
they make it so that like you have to do the math to figure out how many tokens you need to buy to finish up the book.
You lost
Classic.
me there already.
Yeah, and then you like calculate it wrong, and you're not even halfway through the book
Are
yet.
these Chinese developers? Because they would do something like
I think
that.
so. Yeah,
That's totally.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
God.
And you have to,
Chinese
like,
escape room games are just math tests.
Yeah. You have to like
Like-
calculate how many tokens and how many packages
I'll
you need
be
to
like
buy.
that meme with the math equation.
But it's great. Check it out, y'all. Tap your tune.
Dude, for some reason, when you said Tappy Tune, I thought to myself, like, it's going to be like Tap Tap Revolution or something.
Yeah.
No.
And there's like, it plays like a nice song if you tap on the keys.
Oh,
but
that's cute. No. No, it's comics.
Comics,
It's
got it.
comics.
Webtoon.
Yeah, webtoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been doing anything apart from being in Man of God, but I will recommend an app series that I have always really enjoyed by the Rusty Lake developers, and it's Cube Escape. So it's like a series of escape room games that are all narrative themed and very trippy, kind of eerie and scary, very in the same realm of Twin Peaks. So very like 80s
Interesting.
style
cool.
horror, but eerie, but also escape room style. The art is like very simplistic and fantastic.
Wait, sorry. So what is this?
It's escape room games that you can play on your
on your
phone.
app. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and there are separate apps for each different like kind of world within the larger world of Rusty Lake. So there's like a number of games. There's like 10, 11 games. Most of them are free. You can finish all of those. And then there are 2 or 3 that are paid, which are very worth it considering they're only like a couple of bucks. And then you get a much longer game that's like a compendium of the story material plus like some new added world stuff. So I really recommend it. There's one that's set in Arles, like Vincent van Gogh's, bedroom in Arles painting.
Right.
There's ones that are set in a hotel, theater, all that kind of stuff.
cool.
Cool. Awesome stuff. I have no Rex. That's it.
I have a rec.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's this game called Ingress.
I was waiting for that.
I just heard about it.
Fire.
It's written by this really cool guy, Emmett Fury,
No relation to
and
Nick Fury.
it stars this. One of the stars is Jennifer Zhang.
Oh, cool.
Oh, Jen Zing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard
Oh,
about
I've
her.
heard her.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks
She's-
everybody for watching. The joke is dead. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to the chat. Just want to say a shout out to Guts Heat. Actually,
Joel.
around the table, really quick. One word: resistance or enlightened.
Victoria Cariz is resistance, so I'll say resistance.
Enlightened.
Resistance.
Resistance.
Resistance. Awesome. Yeah.
We win.
All right. So, yeah, shout out to Guts Heat. Shout out to Gabriel Bosco.
Thank you, guys.
Shout out to Vifa Bella and Aaron Nabis. And also, there was one more. Pan Geek Groupie. I'm not sure who that is.
Got our first group.
But yeah, shout out to you.
I'll see you at the sideshow
They sub too. Thank you for the
in
sub.
the green room.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks,
Thank you to
guys.
PWC for hosting us once again.
Thank you.
PWSC, pwcsc.org.
We can spell.
One day you'll get it, Earl.
One day. Emmett, where can we find you?
I'm Emmett Fury everywhere. So it's my website. It's EMMETTFUREY. That's my Twitter and Facebook and all the places. Instagram.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us once again.
Yeah, thanks for having
Let's
me.
give a round of applause for Mr. Emmett Fury. Thank you to the cast, to the crew. Remember to see us here next week, Monday, 8 p.m. at twitch.tv/pangeekery. Hit us up on all the socials. Hit up those donate buttons and the affiliate links. All that stuff, it's on our page. Subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Mother to
See you
survive.
next week.
Bye.